All right. So this is apparently a thing, much to my delight. Mortal Kombat 2 is apparently coming, a sequel to Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. I just want to say that I'm not the biggest fan of the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. Unlike some Mortal Kombat fans out there, you know, who just will suck the dick of anything that has the MK logo on the side of the tin, I actually care about the story. I care about continuity. I care about making sure that things are actually done correctly. And while some things were changed with the original 95 and 97 MK films, I actually thought they were pretty fucking awesome. And I'll go on record and saying that Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a better film than the MK 2021 movie. People, it's fucking terrible. How could you say that? It's awesome. Awful. Really? Because it seemed to stick to the characters and their story more than the new one, right? You might have started off with a bang, you know, something that has been redone before, right? In a much better way with the Mortal Kombat Legacy webisode TV series, right? With the introduction of Scorpion and Sub-Zero and what actually happened there. But that's it. That's where it ended, right? You sold the movie on acting that there was going to be more Sub-Zero and Scorpion in it, and all you did was add the fucking refrigerator in there more often, and we barely saw Scorpion. Like, some fucking jeez, man. You know, for a director that claims that they reckon they love Mortal Kombat and know Mortal Kombat and want to make it authentic, you fucked up so much. Every single person in this picture right here was not supposed to show up before the tournament, let alone in MK1, right? Only one of them showed up in MK2, the next one showed up in MK3, and the next one showed up in MK4, right? You literally threw characters into this movie just so you could kill off. Reiko is this mastermind, brilliant general, and you turned him into a fucking 5 beers short of a 6-pack kind of guy. Melina's dead. She wasn't supposed to show up until MK2, right? And we know Mortal Kombat 2, the sequel to this pile of shit, is not actually MK2. Because this movie is the fucking prequel. You don't have a prequel to Mortal Kombat, you didn't need it. Every single, like, I don't mind the actors that were in this movie, but if I had to choose one cast over the other, I would take the Mortal Kombat Legacy TV series cast over the MK 2021 movie. 1000%. Right, 1000%. Right. Casper Van Dien as Johnny Cage, I thought was pretty perfect. You know, they could get away with having Scott Adkins as Cage, but he's got to. It's not just about the martial arts. You've got to have that Cage attitude, right? And there were 2 Cages that were portrayed in Series 1 and Series 2, and including also in Rebirth, that was really fantastic as well, right? Now this dude here, Ian Anthony Dale, as a Scorpion main, this dude played the best Scorpion and Hanzo Hazashi I've ever seen for that character. In any capacity I have seen for Mortal Kombat. He is like the you know, the Robert Downey Jr.'s perfection for Iron Man choice. Hanzo Hazashi is it. Absolutely perfect. Perfect in every conceivable way. In fact, you know, if you want to go, like, I mean, we know that they made some woke changes. You know that they did, because they wanted to. They came out and said, "No, we're making sure that Raiden's Asian." Well, he was never Asian in the games. He was never Asian in any of the cinematics, right? You're doing it for woke points, because we now know that these companies and whatnot get financial kickbacks for ticking boxes. We know that, right? And that's why they did it. And if you were going to have an Asian Raiden, right, then I would take out Hiroyuki Sanada and I would make him Raiden. Because he actually has personality. He actually has charisma, and he actually has, you know, some comedic flair, and I've seen that in other films as well. He would have made a better Raiden. You literally ripped off Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China with Chin Han's portrayal as Shang Tsung. Now, Chin Han's a great actor too. Most of these people I've heard of, and most of them are fantastic, but they're just not in the right role, right? Or at the very least, you know, you could have made Like, I'm just trying to think. See, maybe Joe Taslim, right? I think probably would have been a better Shang Tsung choice because he was meaner, right? But then at the same time, you know, where is he? Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa as Shang Tsung in the Legacy series, and of course the original Mortal Kombat series, for which made him like super duper like huge. He could still play Shang Tsung, right? Like easily, he played it in the Legacy series. It's fantastic. He's got all the charm. He's got the charisma. He's got that venom. He's got that real, you know, like that real fear, you know, that he injects into it, right? A lot of these characters were either not supposed to show up or show up are dead. You've killed off Kung Lao. You killed off Melina. Natara was, you know, a throwaway character, but you could have brought her in down the track and expanded on her. But no, you just threw on there just, you know, for nostalgia bait. Reiko, you turned into 6 beers short of a 6-pack kind of guy, right? Despite that, you threw on Cabal for no fucking other reason, just to say we got Cabal in the movie, right? Absolute disgusting. Right? Goro's dead. Goro was supposed to be like the main sort of undefeatable boss in the Mortal Kombat 1 tournament. And he's dead. Right? Killed by the plot armor character, you know, fucking, I can't even think of his name. What's his name? Cole Young. Right? That's how throwaway he is. Right? Just a fucking shit character overall. Unless to help the characters, like, people in the audience to understand. What, have our audience's IQ dropped sharply since the 90s? Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Liu Kang, and if you want to throw in the extras of characters like Kano, Shang Tsung, Raiden, and Katana. In fact, you know what? Every single character in the original, you know, in even fucking Art Lean had more charisma than fucking Cole Young in MK, like the 95 film. We didn't need to have a plot armor character in there to explain to the audience what's fucking going on, because they made those individual characters strong in themselves. We got a great backstory for both Sonya, Cage, Liu Kang, Raiden, Kano. You know, we got all of them in there. In the film, in the fucking 90s. Right? And then they were able to expand on it in some ways in MK Annihilation. It was actually kind of shocking that they killed off Johnny Cage right in the first few minutes of MK Annihilation. Because we know that in the storyline he does die. He does come back later on, but he actually gets killed off, and I actually thought that was kind of ballsy. Right? But if I had a choice of, say, Raiden choices, I would be choosing Christopher Lambert, and then the next choice would be the guy that played Raiden in the Mortal Kombat Conquest series. Even fucking Conquest felt more accurate. Right? Although all the fucking idiots on Twitter would probably have massive meltdowns because there wasn't a single unattractive female in the Conquest series. And I know that was done on purpose, right? But that was part of the charm of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was always the edgy fighting game. The big buff dudes, kick-ass martial arts, gore, fighting, you know, mystical martial art Asian tournament, which was always fantastic, you know. Hot chicks, and then they just... You fucked the storyline so bad in that MK movie. It's an absolute joke. And the best Jax, looking here, the best Jax I've seen on screen is Michael J. White. One of the best Sonyas I've ever seen on screen is Jerry Ryan. I'm sorry, but she is. She's absolutely fantastic, right? Everything in the Legacy series for Mortal Kombat made perfect sense. It actually made perfect sense, right? The fact that they were creating cybernetics and Kano was involved, because obviously black market, that sort of thing, so it makes sense that he'd be involved. And that's how you would eventually get his eye. You literally, you know, anyone that says that this is authentic Mortal Kombat needs to be taken out the back and whipped. Right? Because it's not. Not even a little bit. Fucking, they get their powers from Arcana. And they're born with the dragon symbol. Are you fucking kidding me? Who the hell signed off on this horse shit? Right? Mortal Kombat was always about finding that inner strength. Not some fucking tattoo that if you kill someone that just transfers to you and suddenly like it's a superpower. Some dumbass shit like that. Oh my god. Kano and Sonya being like pally-pallies, like, you know, you completely just glossed over the entire arc of why Sonya hates Kano. You know what I mean? And then at the end he betrays everyone, but he didn't like, you know, like, make it stop, you know. So what's the MK2 movie gonna do? How is it gonna fix anything? Is it gonna completely retcon the first movie? You think espousing crap like the Moonlight Rider, you know, is helming it? Who fucking cares who's helming it? You can't build a great foundation on a pile of shit, right? With the, you know, everything else is garbage already, right? You've killed off major characters that were supposed to come in later on, okay? You fucked the story. You ripped off Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China with Shang Tsung, right? You completely forgot the story arc between Kano and Sonya, right? You turned fucking, you know, Sub-Zero and Scorpion into literal fucking caricatures out of the game. They're ninjas, not fucking samurai, right? God, fuck. You know, I advise every single person out there that thinks that this movie was the fucking greatest thing ever to go watch the Mortal Kombat Legacy Series 1 and 2 and tell me, you tell me with a straight face that somehow that is worse than this. No fucking way, right? What a joke. What, Raiden's hiding out in some fucking dirt cave? Some dirt shithole in the ground? He's so lazy ass that he tells Liu Kang to off you go find the chosen ones? I've had people come at me and you're fucking racist. So how am I racist? I've always said Liu Kang is the chosen one and he is the pinnacle character in Mortal Kombat. It was always his destiny. That's who he is. How the fuck is that racist, right? He's a fucking brilliant character, right? And he's been played by better people in the past, right? Robin Shao, I think, set the gold standard for Liu Kang, and it's been pretty tough, right? It's been pretty tough to beat that. I didn't mind what's his name? Brian T played Liu Kang. I believe it was the second season for it. I actually didn't mind him. He was a bit angry though. I understand that sort of arc, you know, to maybe, you know, they were trying to go with the sort of like a Dark Raiden type thing where he's been so broken by what's happened around him that he's turned, you know, down a dark path. And just looking at this other list, like I'm just going through here. Check this out, right? Fucking Mark Dacascos as Kung Lao is the pinnacle Kung Lao I have ever seen on film. Just brilliant in every form or capacity known to man. He was absolutely brilliant. I love the portrayal that Samantha Wynn had of Katana. Just, you know, strong, fierce, but also feminine, soft. Like, that's the thing. They didn't sort of compromise, like we're seeing in a lot of stuff, making that, oh, women have to act like men. No. It was Legacy, you gotta watch it. Dan Southworth as Kenshi was fucking incredible. Like Kenshi was awesome in the Legacy series. Fantastic. Like I said, Ian Anthony Dale as Scorpion and Hanzo. Brilliant. Now they had Johnson Fan as Shang Tsung, right? Which I actually didn't mind, right? Probably because they didn't sit there, you know, and make a point out of it, or make him look like Lo Pan out of Big Trouble in Little China, right? They had David Lee McInnes as Raiden. Now, this is the interesting thing. Like, you know, like they did come out on record and say they changed Raiden's race because, you know, they had to make it authentic. But Raiden was never Asian. He's not. He's a god. Like, you know, and you could argue that he could take any form, but let's be honest, there's more literature and whatnot of Raiden being a certain way than not being a certain way. All right. So when you start going against that and telling fans that they're fucking stupid and wrong, that's a bad thing, right? The MK movie 2021, you just literally pull characters out of rosters and threw them in there just for fucking, oh, look what we did, and then focused all on about, oh, what fatalities. No, they're asking you now, oh, what do you want to see in it? What fatalities you want to see, right? Listen, man, the original films had heart. Mortal Kombat always had heart. The fatalities were just a gimmick, right? That separated itself from other fighting games out there, like King of Fighters or Street Fighter, right? But the main focus of Mortal Kombat was this mystical Asian martial art tournament. I love martial art films. I love watching martial art films And back in the 80s, you know, when you watch something like Bloodsport, you know, you're going over to Hong Kong and it's all dark and grim and going through like the back streets and the slums and stuff. And, you know, that felt like, you know, like you were going somewhere else, like you were being taken to some, you know, sort of like really disconnected part of the world. And that's kind of how Mortal Kombat is, where the tournament itself isn't this mainstream thing. You know, it's this mystical thing that very few people know about. And because of that, you know, most people just go about their lives, everything's fine. But then if you're actually part of it, it feels like you would be weaving down this tunnel into this, like, leaving the world behind and going, oh my God, like, what the fuck, you know, where are we headed? You know, and that was that magic of like old school martial art films. And you know, and they touched on it a fair bit, at least in a way, in the 95 and 97 films. And the Legacy series, you know, it felt very dark in tone. It felt serious, right? This movie is a joke. It's not Mortal Kombat. I don't care if you've got the characters' names in there. I don't care if you make references to characters. I don't care if you make references to places, right? It is not Mortal Kombat, right? And making a sequel to like one of the biggest disgraces of film for an MK fan is not going to fix it. How are you going to fix it? You're going to bring all these characters that weren't supposed to show up back from the dead? Are you going to make sure that Shang Tsung doesn't look like Lo Pan out of fucking Big Trouble in Little China? Right? Are you going to make sure that you rip out all this Arcana shit and go back to actually what Mortal Kombat was about essentially, you know, gifted fighters, you know, who either may or may not needed that extra push or self-belief, which is what Raiden's character was in the original film. And in MK Annihilation, was about helping the fighters find their true strength. I would much rather Art fucking Lean from 95 film in Cole Young's place. That's how bad Cole Young is as a character in Mortal Kombat. And no doubt they'll stick that fucking tool as a character in Mortal Kombat with his little fucking noodle plot armor. Oh my God. You know? But unlike other MK fans out there, I'm not going to just sit there and go, it's Mortal Kombat, yay! No, I can't do that. I can't compromise. There is no compromise. When it's a blatant disregard for the entirety of the MK tournament, right? I've had an idea for how you should do the Mortal Kombat movies for a while now. And it's really very simple, right? Every single character gets their own mini movie, right? So maybe half an hour to an hour. Every single character that would be involved in, say, the first Mortal Kombat tournament. And they're all prequels. So, for example, you would follow Scorpion's storyline of how he became Scorpion and stuff like that. You could interject certain characters like Quan Chi's, you know, or maybe not. You know, you might even hold off on some plot twist that non-MK fans don't know about. And every single one of those mini movies leads up to a major release movie. So, and we all can watch the mini movies online, but then they release the major movie in cinemas, so it's a full-length feature film. And that full-length feature film is every single one of those characters suddenly appearing, like rocking up essentially for the tournament. So at the end of every mini character episode, whether it be for Sonya, or Cage, or Kano, or Liu Kang, or Scorpion, or Sub-Zero, every single one of these characters, right, ends up at the end of their mini episode of heading to Shang Tsung's island, right? And then the movie takes off with them all either being on the boat, right, and going from there, right? That is how I would do Mortal Kombat if I had that chance. Because then that way you flesh out every single character's story arc, right, individually, before the major set piece film. So then everyone's going, oh, what's going to happen when finally Cage and Sonya meet? You know, seeing these two personalities separate and then coming together on the screen for the first time. That's how I would flesh it out in a massive way. You could delve deep into every single character leading up to the first MK1 tournament, right? And then you do it all over again for Mortal Kombat 2, right? So what you do is you have your major set piece, and then essentially like the spider webs coming out for each character, and then seeing what happens after Mortal Kombat 1 in the lead up to Mortal Kombat 2 with some of these characters. Imagine that, dude. Imagine that. But no, No, some fucking director go, oh, I love Mortal Kombat, I play it as a kid, right? And then just go, oh, I had this fucking fan fiction I wrote on Tumblr about doing all this horse shit, so that's what I'm gonna do now. And that's exactly what happened, right? It's fan fiction. It's not even close to Mortal Kombat, except for maybe a couple of plot points, so they can go, oh, see, but it is. Look what happened with Scorpion Sub-Zero. That happened. Get fucked. Anyway, guys, catch you next time.